Hello there. Continuing on the theme of translations, I've translated an article from this magazine that came with Yakuza 0. It is a fake article that follows Nishikiyama Akira around for 24 hours. It pretty much acts like a prologue to Yakuza 0, and it at the end of the article it starts to go into the actual game. If you remember the game, you will recognize that this is pretty much happens in the intro of the game. Although I don't remember a reporter hanging around Nishiki at the time in the game, but next time I play the game I'll look closer and see if I actually see it. So yeah, I've translated it. I'm just gonna read through it and then show you, put the picture on the screen and so what goes with where. If you know Japanese better than me, you can just leave a comment and tell me where I'm wrong, because I'll be wrong somewhere. I'm getting good at Japanese now, but I'm definitely not great yet, and some stuff is just hard to translate in general to make it sound less than retarded in English when it's perfectly understandable in Japanese. So, let's begin. Achieve a strong and popular you. Kamurocho in the east, Sotabori in the west. The young people gathering in these extremely popular pleasure districts are of course physically strong, but are also strong men of indomitable hearts. The women too flock to them, their hearts as well as bodies electrified. This time I wanted to meet strong men like these, and find out how to become like them, how to get close to the women that want a man like that. From various angles I will present to you a how-to on how to become a strong and popular man. That is the intro, so to speak. Then the article begins more properly. Up close and personal. Kamurocho's most popular man right now, Nishikiyama's Dangerous Day. Written by Shinji Takeuchi, illustrations by Lucy Tokuyama. I'm not sure if that means written by the guy in the game or if it's like really written by. These days, the most popular guy in Kamurocho is Nishikiyama. If you want to find out how to get even a fraction of his success and popularity, this article is for you. Nishikiyama's true self and way of life will be reported here in great detail. Profile: Nishikiyama, 20 years old, blood type AB, Tojo clan direct subsidiary Dojima family junior member. His kind-looking exterior belies ambition. He believes that to be a true man, appearances are also important. Body care, hair care, fashion, and what car you drive, among other things, must not be overlooked. His close friends call him Nishiki, women call him Nishikiyama-kun. The reporter and author of this article, Takeuchi, is 19 years old and a college student. He yearns to become a strong and cool guy like Nishikiyama. For this article, he got to follow him around closely for 24 hours. 8 o'clock, wake-up time. First, while still in his black steel pipe frame bed that he bought via a magazine mail order, he checks his pager. He makes sure that the delinquents he recruited the other day got to the building site as he instructed. What building site? I don't know. Nishikiyama patrols Kamurocho continuously, looking for young delinquents to recruit into the organization, as a kind of rehabilitation program, turning these hooligans into valuable members of society. This is an important part of a young Yakuza's job. Awesome. 8:30 training time. He trains with some light boxing on a sandbag that he also bought via a magazine mail order. The under-construction Nishikigoi carp tattoo on his back, gleaming with sweat. The tattoo is being done by the most famous tattoo artist in Kamurocho, Utabori. He got his tattoo at the same time as his friend from the same town, who is also in the same Dojima family as Nishikiyama. Let's call him K. I was surprised to learn that the price was 1 million yen. 9 o'clock, shower time. Recently, Nishikiyama got a thing for morning shampooing. As it is his policy not to use rinse-in shampoos, shampooing and treatment of his hair takes a whole hour. Drying generally takes 30 minutes, but his hair gets quite silky in the end. 10 o'clock, I guess it didn't take an hour this time. Telephone time. He calls the family office to check in and see if there's any messages for him. He's only 20 years old, but Nishikiyama has directly exchanged vows with Sohei Dojima, writer of the Lifeline of Trials article in this magazine. On the day that Nishikiyama is selected to do tasks for the family, from morning on he tends to the phones and places calls to every patriarch and more. It's a very busy day. 11 o'clock, going out. After eating breakfast, he gets into his favorite car and heads to Kamurocho. 6 months ago he bought a used, domestically produced top-of-the-line sedan. Because he can't get a bank loan being in his line of work, he saved up money little by little and bought it in one go for 6 million yen. He also added a brand new 5-track cassette car stereo. Next he's aiming to get a car phone. This part I'm not sure if I translated right or not, because I really don't understand what Goren so Cassetto is. 11:30, he reaches Kamurocho. Parking by the side of the road at Nakamichi Street, he goes to Cafe Alps. The regular customer Nishikiyama proudly orders a beer set from the hidden menu. Wow. Cafe Alps doesn't normally serve alcohol, so drinking beer is a recent pleasure of Nishikiyama's. Having taken his Yakuza senior's words of "a real man can drink alcohol at places that doesn't serve it" to heart, Nishikiyama gladly put this into practice. 13, or 1 o'clock, walking time. Having had alcohol, Nishikiyama takes a stroll around Kamurocho to walk it off. 2 o'clock, batting time. Nishikiyama arrives at Yoshida Batting Center and lets off some steam with the advanced course. Several home runs in a row. What about his car he parked at Cafe Alps? It's wrongly parked, right? That's okay. If he puts the Dojima family crest on the hood of his car, there's no problem. This is a common practice among the Kamurocho Yakuza. 3:45 to High-Tech Sega Land. He goes to the High-Tech Sega Land arcade and spends 3,000 yen while playing the latest release, Super Hang-On. They got a sort of retroactive commercial in there. Nishikiyama is a self-professed light motorcycle driving expert. His present objective is to train on Super Hang-On and then to be able to take his motorcycle license in real life later on. 5 o'clock, driving. He returns to his car and hits the freeway. Bringing sweets and presents, he heads to a house outside of town. 6:15, arrival. Going at an average speed of 150 kilometers an hour, he reaches the house. The truth is that Nishikiyama was raised at an orphanage. Even now, Nishikiyama comes around once a week to visit the orphanage director who raised him. Today he informed them on current events and handed over a large amount of presents and pocket money for the children. Respect for your elders is something that sets Nishikiyama apart from other young people of today. Upstanding citizen. 8 o'clock, back to Kamurocho once again. Back to Kamurocho. Along the way, he sends a page to his friend and colleague Kei, a drinking invitation. Page, of course, being with a pager, because that's, yeah, they said it before, but remember, this is 1988. 10 o'clock, singing. The central freeway is jammed. In his car, he belts out the song Get Wild, which was popular a few years ago. And this may or may not be a real song, I'm not entirely sure. 11:30, meetup time. He meets up with his friend and fellow Dojima family junior member, Kei. While Nishikiyama runs late for the meet, Kei, who has an abundant sense of justice, is mediating a fight among youngsters. And yes, that question mark is in the actual article too. Midnight, late night walk. For the first time in a while, Nishikiyama wanders the streets with Kei, who is almost like an old man in the way that he has absolutely no interest in trends, and lectures him about things. Now this part I remember from the game. If you remember too, he walks around with Kiryu. Here on out, it's basically sort of like in the game. In contrast to Nishikiyama, Kei has a more old-school, chivalrous style. Along with his favorite brand, 7 Star, a very high-quality lighter, 100,000 yen, is among Nishikiyama's possessions. Even though he's collecting money, not giving back a lighter he borrowed from a friend seems to be Kei's style. Now this whole part is a little oddly translated, I have to admit, so I have to elaborate a little bit. Basically, Kiryu is a money collector, and that brings in a lot of money, so he should have plenty of money. So even though he is a money collector who should have plenty of money, have enough money, he still doesn't give back the lighter that he got from Nishiki. So basically, he's cheap. I think he's trying to say. 10 past midnight to the to Yakuniku. They go to Yakuniku. They head out to the Yakuniku place Kanrai and eat tongue, karubi, roast sirloin of the popular salt variety. Other than that, 6 big bowls of rice, 10 beers, and 5 glasses of oolong hai, which is an alcoholic beverage. I thought it was tea first, because oolong is a tea also, but no, this is alcoholic. The bill comes to 153,200 yen, all paid by Nishikiyama. This is the 80s. In Japan, there was the bubble period, which is when everyone had money to burn. Before it all came crashing down in the 90s, just like it actually did here in Sweden too. A Yakuza's job and income is similar to that of a self-employed person. Through temporary employee placement, protection of various bars and restaurants, as well as hostess scouting, Nishikiyama made as much as tens of millions of yen. On his end, Kei makes tens of thousands of yen every month collecting on loans. Depending on your skill in this field, you can really make a lot of money. I guess Nishikiyama has more business stuff going on than Kiryu. He only collects money pretty much. I guess that is his niche, because remember in Yakuza 1, you pick up the few seconds where he actually is a Yakuza member. He is doing what? Collecting money. 1:30, getting into a fight. After eating, Nishikiyama and Kei again hit the streets. And while walking in the Kamurocho shopping street area, they come across a fight between a couple of drunk guys. Kei, ever the busybody, again steps in to put an end to the fight. This, you might remember, was one of the fighting tutorials. Kei's meddling is a common thing, says Nishikiyama. The truth is, Kei comes from the same orphanage as Nishikiyama, and having spent so much time together that they ended up having an even closer bond than actual brothers would, they know each other inside and out. Today's drunken brawl mediating also went very well. ? I don't know. I guess the guy who writes, he doesn't know how to determine success. Like maybe he's like the guy who wants to avoid fights, whatever. Kiryu knows that beating some sense into people actually works in this game, in these games anyway. 2 o'clock, a honey on each arm. Suddenly, Nishikiyama encounters Madoka and Yui, 2 hostesses from a club he's a regular at. They grill him about why he hasn't been to the club lately, and Nishikiyama ends up giving them some money, 20,000 yen, which the Japanese writes as pocket change, which is, not exactly pocket change because that's for kids, but it's still like some spending money, that kind of thing. Madoka and Yui are 2 hostesses working at a place that Nishikiyama entertains superiors at sometimes. The 30-year-olds and older of the Yakuza world is full of brawlers of poor social skills, according to Nishikiyama. Helping those kind of seniors enjoy the nightlife is another important part of a young Yakuza's job. 2:30, living it up at a karaoke place. They arrive at Nishiki's favorite karaoke snack bar, Heroin, as in female hero, not the drug. After enjoying a glass of whiskey costing a few thousand, they enthusiastically do a duet. According to Nishikiyama, Kei's voice is apparently among the manliest in Kamurocho. Really, I've heard him sing, and when he gets going, his voice is enough to reverberate to a woman's womb and get her pregnant. Nishikiyama's voice isn't bad either, though. 6 o'clock, bill time. The 320,500 yen bill is put on tab, which of course is Nishikiyama's tab. 6:30 to a ramen shop. After walking around Pink Street for a while, Nishikiyama and Kei enter the ramen shop Tenkyokan. Drunkenly, Nishikiyama orders a big order. Orders bigly, a massive something. Tenkyokan is very popular lately, a ramen shop from Kyushu specializing in thick taste. That tastiness, that thickness is also the best in Kamurocho. For me, as a native of Kyushu, it may be a little too thick, adding that Kanto flavor on top of it. But on a night like this, tired after drinking, this kind of salty ramen seems to go down very well. 6:50, checking up on the news. They watch the morning news on the shop TV. There's a report about a murder that has happened in Kamurocho. They're both very surprised, knowing as they do that the place it happened in is where Kei was doing money collecting the other day. Soon after, Kei's pager goes off. It's a call from the Dojima family headquarters. The place where Kei did his money collecting is an empty lot in between a bunch of buildings in an area designed for the Kamurocho renovation project. Kei says he didn't beat the guy enough to kill him, but Nishikiyama says that with the almost stupid amount of strength he has, it could well be possible. He seems worried about what this might turn into. I think it might turn into Yakuza 0. Yeah! 7:30, send-off. Kei is heading off to the Dojima family headquarters, so he and Nishikiyama say goodbye out in front of the ramen shop. As a Yakuza, you have to be prepared that each goodbye could be your last, says Nishikiyama. 8:30, homecoming. Finally, we come home. Although worried about Kei, an extremely tired Nishikiyama collapses on the bed and falls asleep. Well done. Nishikiyama is really amazing. physical training, fashion, cars. It's all parts to becoming a first-rate Yakuza. Even though he's really serious, in a way, I really admire him. And that's the end. That is the end of the article from this thing. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, ends with Nishiki being all tuckered out. And then the game begins, pretty much. So, yeah, that's it.